What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and yeah, I'm broadcasting from my kitchen because I'm in the process of moving not just my office, but my whole home, since I do have a home office after all, from one place to another, and I'm in the process of setting up an exciting new Phone Dog studio if everything pans out. I want to make it exciting, different, maybe with some pictures this time, something cool, but it's going to take a couple of days to move everything over from one place to the other. It's all a wreck. So I'm broadcasting from random places right now. Kind of fun. You never quite know where I'm going to be. But one thing is for sure, there are two 4G LTE devices on Verizon right now. The Samesung Droid Charge, the second Verizon 4G device to come out. And actually, it's not even out yet. It was supposed to launch on Thursday, but due to Verizon's 4G network issues, it's been delayed indefinitely. Supposedly launching next week, we'll see, but it's coming at $299.99. Now, is this a device for you? Should you go with a Thunderbolt, or should you drop it down a little bit? Go with something like the Droid Incredible 2 or one of the other devices in that, $199 price point. We're going to figure out that and more in Phone Dog's full review of the Samesung Droid Charge. Starts right now. 4G LTE smartphone number one, numero dos, something do. In some other languages that I don't know, but you get the idea. It's another 4G LTE smartphone on Verizon Wireless. Here it is, a Samsung Droid Charge. It was supposed to come out yesterday on Thursday for $299.99 at retail stores and online. Now, it was postponed indefinitely due to Verizon's 4G LTE network issues they were having on Wednesday and on Thursday. Everything looks to be restored now, at least it's restored in my market, which is the Charlotte metro area, but it's been a stressful 24 to 48 hours for Verizon. But here it is. It's coming at some point, so you'll be able to get your hands on it, or your paws on it, because it says Phone Dog after all, at some point in the near future. It's running Android 2.2 with HTC's TouchWiz user interface, version 3.0, so no real changes there. But it does have a 4.3-inch gorgeous Super AMOLED display, and you can see that was really the thing that shined. If you go back to my videos at CES, Mobile World Congress, CTIA, any of those trade shows where this has been shown off, the display is really what makes this device pop. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It takes Super AMOLED to a whole nother level with just, beautiful colors, the ability to read it outdoors, and more. So it has that. It has a 1 gigahertz Hummingbird processor, same single-core processor at that, that's in the Galaxy S devices that were announced last year in New York. It has an 8-megapixel camera on the back with a flash, a front-facing camera, but the real winners here, 1, awesome display, 2, front-facing camera, 3, 4G LTE capabilities. We can see, what comes out of the box. You get a couple, actually get a lot of Verizon pre-installed apps like All Share apps, Backup Assistant, BitBop, Blockbuster, let's see, City ID, Guided Tours, IM, Let's Golf 2, Mobile Hotspot, Samsung's Media Hub, that's a Samsung thing, but still, My Verizon Mobile, Rhapsody, Rock Band, Setup Wizard, Slacker, TuneWiki, let's see, VCast Media, VZ Navigator, and then the rest are apps that I've installed. So a lot of Verizon bloatware on this device. So, it's one of those things, before the iPhone came to Verizon, when people came to me and they said, I want a phone that's very similar to the iPhone, I often recommended them to, at the time, the Fascinate. Now I would recommend them, obviously, to the iPhone since it's on the carrier, but also to this as well because, it really looks a lot, and Samsung, or Apple rather, has a legitimate claim against Samsung in my opinion, just on design alone, taking everything else out of the equation, because it looks a lot like the iPhone. It doesn't look like Android from the way it scrolls from side to side, just like the iPhone. The icons are boxed, just like the icons, boxed and colorful at that, just like the iPhone applications. And it looks, very similar. So somebody that's coming from an iPhone, wants to do Android for the first time, somebody that, kind of has an iPod Touch or something and wants to go to a smartphone, it's a familiar look and feel for them. So, I always did recommend those to iPhone users or iPod Touch users rather, and people that were used to iOS, and I would continue to do so. But this is, a device that's really in a different category due to the 4G status of it, and the price tag really reflects it as well. $299.99. It's one of those things. Is it worth paying $299 to future-proof yourself for a couple of months, or is it worth going with something like the Droid Incredible 2 that's $199.99, much cheaper, at least a little bit cheaper, but it's running on a network that's not going to be around forever, a 3G network. Then again, who knows? Something new on LTE. It's always changing. You can't really subject yourself to that, but at least this would future-proof you a little bit more than something like the Droid Incredible 2, particularly if you're in a market where you know, you have 3G now, and you say, why should I get a 4G device? Well, you know, you're kind of out of luck if 6 months after you buy it, 4G comes to town and you can't take advantage of it. So this sucker comes with 2 keyboards. I'm going to show you those right now in messaging. Let me go to, actually it's down here. Forgot I moved all this stuff around. You can see this kind of, you know, if you've worked with TouchWiz devices in the past, they all have this specific color scheme. This one is brown and orange for whatever reason. Brown, gray, and orange. You can see the brown here, kind of this espresso colored brown with the orange highlights. So we can go to new message. We'll compose. What you're seeing here is a Samsung keypad. It's honestly not my favorite. I still don't care for it, even on this device, but I can make an exception, at least, you know, sometimes because of the 4.3-inch display. That's really the only thing that makes this usable, in my opinion. Just do not like this keyboard, but you can use it in portrait or in landscape mode. If I actually turned on auto rotation, rather, portrait and landscape. And again, because of the bigger display, it is easy to type on the quick brown fox. But you can see, I mean, I have an issue with it, and the way it auto-corrects words, it doesn't make sense all the time. The quick brown fox is hungry. Quick brown fox isn't hungry. He just ate pizza with me earlier. But you know, hey, whatever. Maybe he is hungry. Maybe he has a big appetite. But the quick brown fox is hungry, and it's relatively easy to type on. Where you get into challenges are finding words, or when you find words rather that the keyboard doesn't understand, it tries to autocorrect to something else and will not stop trying to autocorrect to something else. Like it takes 3 or 4 attempts to get it to stop. So I mean, those kind of things frustrate me. Maybe it won't you, but who knows. You can see here input method. You have swipe as well. So swipe's your thing. You have that option, and of course you can sideload apps from the Android market as well. So you can download HTC's keyboard or Motorola's multi-touch keyboard and more if that's your thing. Now let's go into browser here. Take a look at PhoneDog. Network not available. That's not good. Let's see here. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that, I was going to get into this later in the video, but if you read my Twitter feed, I've been kind of disappointed with Verizon's 4G. I mean, here's the thing. It's awesome. I mean, the speeds are fast. The download speeds are fast. The upload speeds are very, very good as well. I mean, I've uploaded videos, and it's been great. But, the past 5 or 6 weeks, I don't know if it's just the saturation on the network. It constantly cuts in and out. So if you're doing anything, you see right there, it's doing it again. You're seeing it in front of your very eyes, on camera at least. But it does this, on and off the entire day. And it doesn't just do it on the Droid Charge. It's not a Droid Charge issue. It's a Verizon 4G issue. It does it on the Thunderbolt. It does it on the 2 data sticks I have. It does it on the Samsung mobile hotspot. There's clearly something going on, and has been for weeks now, with their 4G. So keep that in mind. It really frustrates me to see that go in and out, especially when I'm doing something like I'm using the mobile hotspot, which is supposed to be reliable, and I'm using that mobile hotspot, and it cuts out halfway through a video upload. I have to restart that video upload. So you see, it just did it again. Just watch the 4G while we're browsing. Just watch that 4G indicator. See how many times it cuts out, just in between. And that's what I'm talking about. You read the Twitter feed. There's no way to get work done because it is a constant cutout, in and out, in and out, in and out, every 10, 15 minutes, sometimes more. It seems like it's doing it faster today for some reason. But you can see pinch to zoom, back to the browser. Very, very fast. There you go. Pinch to zoom, very, very fast. Oh, look, I have no network connection. You're getting a first-hand glimpse of what I deal with on a regular basis with these Verizon 4G devices. But you can see, as you saw, pinch to zoom was very fast. It has a very friendly browser menu as well. You can go to new window. We'll open up a second window. We'll jump back, click on Windows, and you can see there, bam. Again, so very easy to go back and forth through those, and pretty easy and self-explanatory overall in the menu structure. So that's it. Let's jump out of that and jump into, I want to find it here so I can show you, Samsung's Media Hub. There it is. Now this is this cool and unknown area because it's not connected to the internet, but this is this cool kind of Netflix, if you will-ish kind of thing, sort of maybe, for Samsung devices. It's a Samsung-specific application that allows you to rent and download buy/download movies on their store. So let's go to My Media, for example. Actually, I don't have anything in there. Let's go to the movie store. Actually, now that it's loaded, I can go back to that main screen. Let's see here. So I can go to Hereafter, for example. I can own it for $17.99. Keep watching that 4G as it cuts in and out. $17.99, and I can rent it for $3.99. So You know, I could rent if I wanted to, own if I wanted to. I can use this while I'm traveling. So very useful feature, and it's one of those things that started off, you know, when they announced it with the Galaxy S devices, people were kind of like, what, you know, how is this going to, in the multitude of app stores and things that are available, how, is it going to really work? Well, you know, it seems like a pretty useful application, in my opinion. You know, it's something great for those times where you're traveling on an airplane. So let's go into market and take a look at that. A couple of changes to the market. Not a huge thing if you've worked with an Android device in the past couple of months, but some changes nonetheless. You'll see a design refresh where the header's been redone. You know, there's the tabs at the top where you can see new applications and more. So it's, you know, it looks good, and I have a feeling the data stopped working on me again. Let's see. Loading, 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 loading. So you can see while we're waiting for that to resolve itself, you know, I didn't really cover the design in the beginning of the video, but you can see, you know, they really should have kept, and it's funny because I was talking to an old colleague of mine, and I read a message an old colleague of mine said, and he's like, they really should have kept it Stealth instead of Droid Charge, because, you know, the rumored names, there were two rumored names, either the Charge or the Stealth, and they, you know, apparently went with the Charge, but I think the Stealth would have been much better, because it really comes down to this point at the end, and it's kind of similar. Another one of my Twitter followers pointed me out. It's kind of similar to the BlackBerry 8700 series, if you remember those. Pointy at the bottom, had kind of this spacey look to it, and I think it would have been really cool if they had kept it stealth. That typical Samsung hump at the bottom that some of their devices are known for. 8-megapixel camera with a flash, 3.5mm headphone jack on the top. Now, interestingly enough, this is the first Samsung device in recent memory to not have a USB door that opens and closes to reveal the actual port. It is a free and clear port, and then you see HDMI over here and a power button. You have physical buttons down here at the bottom as opposed to capacitive, and I have to say they've really done a good job with the design. You know, usually I prefer capacitive over physical any day, but the way they've done it, the way it looks, I mean, heck, they've made it look good.